Hello and welcome to this short discussion that I want us to have concerning the makeup tutorial that I gave you. The tutorial is based on Zimbabwean data, actual Zimbabwean data for quarters from 2016 to the fourth quarter of 2016 to the fourth quarter of 2019. Now, you are required to estimate the demand for money for transactional purposes. Now, in your first year, in all likelihood, you looked at the money demand function, and you also talked about the motives for holding money. And the motives for holding money range from the transactional motive, which means you hold money because you want to transact with it. You want to buy things, you want to pay for transport, you want to do your hair, you want to have beers at the Rat and Parrot with your friends, and all sorts of funny things you want to do with your money. No one will ask you. So now, you can also hold money for precautionary purposes. There might be emergencies, things that are unforeseen, and they usually happen all the time. And so transactional and precautionary motives always depend on the level of income you have, but they are quite insensitive to interest rates. But you can also hold money to speculate with it, because maybe you want to open an investment account where you earn some interest, where the funds in the investment account are invested on your behalf in some shares on the stock exchange or things like those. That's speculative demand of money. Obviously, it depends on the level of the real interest rate. So if we are to look at that, you were taught that your demand for money can be written as M over P. These are called real money balances. Is a function of your real income and your real interest rate. Okay? Now, this is a mathematical postulation or representation of the demand function. It doesn't tell us the form of the demand function, so we need to specify one. So we are now going to say, but because we are not here interested in estimating a multivariate regression, we only want to estimate the effect of real income on the levels of real money balances that people hold. So we have, or demand, so we have M over P is equal to, although strictly speaking this should not have an intercept, but because we haven't done regression through the origin, I'm going to violate that theoretical argument and introduce a constant for purposes of illustration, plus by. Okay, that is then of course plus your disturbance term, let's call it error. Okay, now so that's what we want to estimate. Now notice that your variables are scaled differently. One is in millions, one is in thousands. One option is to convert one of them so that it is, maybe convert this to millions so that both are in millions, or convert this to thousands. You have to multiply this by 1,000, then it's now in thousands, or you have to divide this by 1,000, then it is now in millions. Okay, but you can also estimate without changing the scale of measurement, for as long as you remember when you are doing your interpretations that the scales of measurement are different. So I will assume that many of you, or perhaps all of you, never thought of rescaling. You just went ahead and estimated given the information here. So we need to create our M over P now. So we're going to say equal to, this is our nominal broad money. We divide it by the consumer price index, that's your P, okay, the price level. But actually this number is just measured, we have to divide all the numbers in this column by 1, all these by 100, all of them must be divided by 100. So in base year the price level is 1. So if your CPI is less than 100, it means that in that particular year prices were the general price level was much lower than in the base year. So you also have higher real money balances and so forth. So let's divide that by 100. As I just said, you can see that your real money balance is a bigger value than your nominal money balance, because in Q4 of 2012 your price index was 100, but in Q4 of 2016 it was 96, which means Zimbabwe in this period it was experiencing a deflation of some sort, right? So the value of money at that stage was very, very high. So you have created your variable. So what you need to do next is to estimate as required. So let's look for the regression routine. It's here. It will ask us to input the y values. M over P is our dependent variable. That's what we call y. Y there means dependent. So we pick that. We come back. Our x variable is your real GDP, your real income, which I have called y because y is usually used to represent income in macroeconomic analysis. Then we click labels. Then we say okay. Maybe let's put it in a different format. Now that's the 2 decimal places. You are not interested in this ANOVA table yet, so I can take it off. I can take these automatically generated confidence intervals as well. You can interpret many of these things. You know what this means. About 55.3% of the variations in demand for real money balance is explained by the level of income. It's pretty much fine. Okay, and this is the correlation coefficient between real GDP and your M over P in thousands. Okay, these are dollars, of course, right? That's dollars. It's not S, it should be dollars, right? So now you can state this equation if you like. That's M over P is equal to minus 37,497,22. I'll just round off to the nearest whole number. 227 plus 2344 y. Okay, that's your regression. Now of course your liquidity preference theory tells you that your real income has a positive influence on the level of real money balances that people hold, but a real interest rate has a negative effect. Why? Because when the real interest rate increases, the opportunity cost of holding money increases. So you lose more by holding money. You would rather invest it somewhere and earn that real interest rate, right? Real interest income. So how do you interpret the slope coefficient? The intercept doesn't make much sense here. Bearing in mind that your variables are measured, the explanatory in millions, the dependent in thousands. So you are saying when real income increases by $1 million, on average, the demand for real man balances increases by 2,344. There must be a dollar sign there. Dollar sign. In thousands. That's it. Okay. Notice that instead of me saying in thousands, I could have divided this number by 1,000. As I said, if you divide this by 1,000, then it's now in millions. If I divide that number by 1,000, then I can change here and say it would increase by $2.344 million. Okay, so now I put an M there. So you have to be careful about the way you interpret these things. Okay, right. Having said that, there are many things you can do. Sometimes economists like to estimate these things in logs. So you might want to say log M over P, and then you want to have log real income. Okay, so that's equal to ln for your income there. There you go. If you drag it, okay, I can't drag it. Ln for my real GDP there. Then I can take it down to that. Then from there, I can estimate my regression again. This time it involves logged variables only. And my dependent is this one. Oh, my explanatory is this one. Again, that strictly speaking, we should not have a constant, but we haven't done regression through the origin, so I will add a constant for now. And this is what you get. You can take off this middle part. It's none of your business at this stage until 2 weeks from now. A week from now. Now, okay, write this regression. This is log M over P is equal to minus, let's just say 48 plus 6.5 log Y. Okay. Now, when there are logs both sides, the variable here is in logs, the variable there is in logs, then the number you have there is an elasticity. Okay. So this is an elasticity. You are talking about elasticity. So then what you are actually saying is that the elasticity of real man balances, or if you want to put it differently, is to say when real income increases by 1%, then your real man balances increase on average by 6.5%. Or if you like, you can say the elasticity of real man balances to changes in income is 6.5%. So it's the same way of saying the same thing. So that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to estimate this relationship here and then interpret it and do different other things. So I will stop here.